Hi guys, Jamie Humphries here, and today we are taking a look at a two-handed tapping lick inspired by the likes of Paul Gilbert and Reb Beach. Okay, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about two-handed tapping and give you a couple of examples of ways that I like to traverse the neck using tapping. Now, obviously, I'm a huge Van Halen fan, and I've always gravitated towards left-hand legato and two-handed tapping a little bit more so than I have using the picking hand, using picking runs. I'm not much of an alternate picker. And it was through my lessons when I was studying with my old teacher, Phil Hilborn, that he exposed me to some players such as Paul Gilbert and Reb Beach and Greg Howe. And these guys that were actually using the two-handed tapping technique as a way to form runs. And I really gravitated to that way of playing and that way of sort of linking the neck together. Now, for those of you that are new to tapping, or even those of you that have been using it for a while, hopefully this lick will inspire you to break out of some of those more traditional sounding arpeggio style tapping licks. Not that there's anything wrong with those. You know, I'm really into that old school sounding tapping that Eddie Van Halen did. I think that I just think it sounds fantastic, and I still think it's cool even though it's been around for so long. But this type of technique of utilizing the major scale system and your modal shapes, or however you want to look at the neck, this is a great way of you breaking out of positions. And it's also a really cool way of you being able to practice your scales, and instead of keeping them in position in 3-note per string shapes, actually being able to see the scales horizontally and connect them across different strings. Okay, so let's kick things off. We are in the key of A minor, and we're using the A natural minor. So this is the C major scale. Now I've chosen to keep this lick just on the top 3 strings. You know, you can, once you get into this, you can move this all around the neck. It's a really great technique. I've got the string mute on. Just basically to hide many sins. No, but obviously playing in such a exposed environment as playing unaccompanied, you are going to get a certain amount of handling noise, or at least I do anyway. So I've put the string mute on. I don't always use those. If I'm playing to a track, I don't. Obviously, a track will hide a few sins. You should try and play cleanly, though. I've got that on just to make it sound a little bit cleaner and stop any sort of sympathetic notes ringing out as I'm moving around. Obviously, this is completely exposed, playing with your pants down on a video. So that's why these are kind of cool. But obviously, if you do get one of these fret wraps, I know there's a lot of people who kind of frown at them. I used to use the hair scrunchies years ago. Guthrie showed me that little trick. But you know, if you're going to use these, only use it, I would say, for certain things. I know Guthrie uses them, Andy James uses them, and obviously there's nothing wrong with their playing style whatsoever, but it just does keep things a little bit cleaner. So to kick things off, we are tracing through an A natural minor, the A Aeolian mode, or the C major scale, across the top 3 strings. Now, you could also use this lick against any of the 7 chords of the C major scale. If you play it against chord 1, it will sound Ionian. If you play it against the D minor chord 2, it will sound Dorian. If you play it against chord number 3, which is E minor, it will sound Phrygian. If you play it over chord number 4, which is F, it will sound F Lydian. If you play it over the G major chord 5, it will sound G Mixolydian. If you play it over A minor, as we are playing it, that's where I'm hearing it. And obviously I played an A minor chord, an A5 chord at the end there. That's going to be A Aeolian. And if you play over the 7th chord, which is B diminished, it will sound like B Locrian. So obviously I'm a little bit more of a key center player. I tend to think about the relationship between the scale and the chord and the position of the chord within the scale, rather than thinking about modes. Obviously, I'm very aware of my modes. I know all my modes and I know the formulas of my modes, but I've always preferred to just see the scale and all of the surrounding chords. Just the way, before I took formal lessons, that was the way that I played. I knew my major scales and I could hear them against, or I should say, I knew portions of my major scales and I could hear them against chords. And that way of playing has always stuck with me. Okay, so let's have a look at the ascending part of the lick to start off with. This is a 16th note pattern. We're going to be playing up several positions on the G string. We're going to tap on the 5th fret, pull off to the 2nd and hammer the 4th. And then we're pulling back off to the 2nd. So this is the formula of the lick, or the pattern that you're going to ascend with. Obviously you can play things like that. If you're Richie Kotzen, you can do these kind of things with just one hand. I do like to practice that stuff, but I just like the sound of using the tapping with it, and some of the little kind of doubled up notes that you can do with the tapping lick as well. Very, very Reb Beach sounding. As I said, I mentioned at the beginning that this is Reb Beach inspired and Paul Gilbert inspired. It's not so much one of any of their licks. It just has that kind of mindset. That's the kind of mindset I was in when coming up with this lick. So we start off with this pattern. Then we move up to the next position. So we're tapping 7, pulling off to 4, hammering 5, pulling off 4, move up again, tap 9, pull off 5, hammer 7 and pull off to 5. Then we're up to the 10th fret, tap 10, pull off 7, hammer 9, pull off 7. Okay, so there's the G string portion of the lick. That's a really nice little segment for you to practice. I'm going to try and get that clean. I tend to tap with my 2nd finger, just through habit of, I don't know if you can see that there in this camera. I always hold my pick by folding my 1st finger over. And sometimes I still retain the pick in my thumb and 1st finger if I'm, doing tapping and going between regular sort of using my picking hand. So that's just the way it's just a habit that's always stuck with me. But when I fold my 1st finger over to hold the pick, I can then have my thumb here on the top of the neck and use it almost like a guide. So that portion of the lick again. Now we're jumping onto the B string. We're tapping 8, pulling off 5, hammering 6 and pulling off to 5. Now we're moving up 3 positions here, 10, 6, 8, 6. Then we're going 12, 8, 10, 8. Now we change onto the top E string. So that's 8, 5, 7, 5. Let's just do the B string portion for you. Put that together with the G string portion. Now onto the top E, 8, 5, 7, 5. Here we're going to go right the way up to the octave of this shape. So 8, 5, 7, 5, 10, 7, 8, 7, 12, 8, 10, 8, 13, 10, 12, 10. And then we're 15, 12, 13, 12. 17, 13, 15, 13, 19, 15, 17, 15. And then we're up to the octave of shape number 1, if you like, or however you like to look at it. You can look at it as being a G shape or an E shape of the scale. If it's an E shape, then you're in that kind of Aeolian position. So let's just play through that first portion of the lick nice and slowly. Here we go. Okay, so now we have the descending portion, and I wanted to show a slightly different pattern here and also make it a little bit demanding. So we've gone from 16th notes to 16th note triplets. So we have this pattern. Another familiar pattern if you do any legato or picking. I use that pattern as a left hand pattern when I'm practicing my alternate picking. So we start by tapping 20, pull off to 17, hammer onto 19, and then tap 20, pull off 19, pull off 17. So you get this. Okay, that's obviously going to be at quite a fast tempo. So then we drop down the next position. We're tapping 19, pull off to 15, hammer 17, tap 19, pull off to 17, and then pull off to 15. So we've got this. And then we just move that down, continue it diatonically. So now we're tapping on the 17th fret, pulling off to the 13th, and hammering onto the 15th, but retaining the same pattern. Down, tapping on the 15. So we've got 15, 12, and 13. Now we're doing 13, 10, and 12. Now we're down to 12, pull off 8, hammer 10. And then obviously tap 12, pull off 10, pull off 8. Now we're down to 10, 7, and 8. Now we're down to 8, 5, and 7. Okay, so let's have a look at that whole descending figure on the top string. Here we go. Now we're going to change strings. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. So, really work on playing this slowly. First of all, watching out for, use your palm of your picking hand almost like a mute as well to try to eliminate as much noise as you can. Like I said, I'm cheating a little bit today with the fret wrap on there because I'm playing unaccompanied, and you are going to get a certain amount of sympathetic guitar noise. So, this helps a little bit. So now we're onto the B string. Tap 12, pull off 8, hammer 10. Now tap 12, pull off 10, pull off 8. Now we're down to 10 and 6 and 8. Down to 8 and we're playing 5 and 6. Okay, so the B string pattern. Then onto the G string, and we're tapping on the 10th fret, and we have the 7th and the 9th. Now the 9, 5, and 7. 5, 4, and 7, 5, and 4. And then we're down to the final position where we started, which is 5, 2, and 4. Okay, so the G string pattern. Now let's put that entire descending portion of the lick together. Here we go. Okay, so now let's play through the entire lick nice and slowly. Here we go. Okay, so there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope it's given you a little bit of an insight into being able to use different techniques to be able to traverse the neck. Now, I really think this is a powerful technique to use to get into. I'm a little bit of a mind on the guitar that if I can't achieve something a certain way, then I will find a way of doing it. And as I said, I'm not the best alternate picker there is by far. It's always been my Achilles heel. I've always been a little bit more of a left-hand player. So for me to be able to play some of those sequenced runs, I've always gravitated towards using this sort of, this tapping technique, which I find to be, it's really musical, sounds really cool. And if you get it nice and clean and smooth, it sounds great. You can also have the added bonus of being able to do some slides and some doubled up notes as well. So, hopefully you will find this, lick enjoyable and useful. And, check out some of the playing by Reb Beach. Also listen to that first Mr. Big album as well. Listen to Addicted to That Rush. You can hear a lot of that sort of style of tapping in the introduction. Like I said, this isn't a lick that I've borrowed ideas. I've just, thrown those two guys out there, Reb Beach and Paul Gilbert, because they were an inspiration to me with this style. But this is very much, something that I like to do, but you will hear it on many other great guitar players out there. Not saying I'm great, by the way. That came out wrong. You know what I mean. Anyway, that's it from me. Please click the link below where you can download the tab, and I will look forward to seeing you here very soon for more lessons. Bye for now.